Hello everyone, my name is Orinoco and I'm here today to give you a little update on a Savage customization build. How we going you lot? Hope you're all fine and dandy. So I've done a little bit to this, off camera without making any videos. So I thought what I could do is do a little sort of like an update so that you'll know where we are and what's actually been happening with this build. I found some blue R clips there, which I thought is extremely tacky, but I put them on nevertheless. I found them amongst my tub of R clips there. And the first thing you're probably going to notice is the engine is in, it's mounted, it runs, and if you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen a little short video of it actually running when I was doing the first tank during the running in process. Let me tell you, it runs like an absolute beast. Sounds brilliant. So if we take off these tacky blue R clips, which I might keep because I like a bit of tackiness every now and again. Well, they're not that bad, I suppose. We can take off the shell. We have a fully complete now. Fully complete. There isn't anything else that needs to be done apart, as far as everything works basically. And the only thing I need to adjust is a throttle linkage so we get full throttle, because at the moment we don't actually get full throttle, we get about 3/4 throttle and that's about it. But a little bit of adjustment and we'll be there with that. I need to sort out shocks, but I'll explain all about that in a minute. Let's have a look and I'll explain what I've actually done. So we've got down in there, we've got a Reds Racing 13 tooth clutch bell. That's on the standard 49 tooth plastic spur, and that spur gear is actually bent anyway, it's warped, it wobbles up and down, so that will be replaced. But at the moment I'm not spending any more money on any RC stuff because I've got other commitments. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run it like that, and I'm fully expecting this engine to strip this spur anyway, so whether it dies or whether it doesn't, it'll be replaced later on. If I run it and it dies, hey, I'll just replace it and happy days. So we got the Reds Racing clutch bell on the Answer RC flywheel, 4-shoe flywheel. We've got Reds Racing clutch shoes in there, and that's all on there now, all mounted. We've got the Hongnor PI 810 exhaust and the manifold. And I was going to drill new holes because, as you can see there, the springs are a little bit, they're that way. The holes don't line up because this exhaust is designed so that the tip there faces outwards like you would see on a buggy. So the holes line up if you face it and it points out, but I don't want the exhaust facing outwards, I want it facing down. That's the way I like it, that's the way they are on Savages, and I like it that way. So I was going to drill new holes so that the springs would be, straight. But I've got drill bits that are the right size, however I haven't actually got a chuck small enough on any of my drills. This drill, the chuck doesn't go small enough. My electric hand drills, the chuck doesn't go small enough, so I couldn't drill the holes. One of them things, isn't it? And that's why I'm a hoarder. I hoard everything because you never know when you're going to need it. I had a small drill that went with the small drill bits that I've got. Really, really tiny little drill bits, just about see them. I've got minute drill bits. But somebody wanted the drill with the chuck and everything on it a few years ago now, so I just gave it to them. But I kept the drill bits because I didn't want the drill bits. Of course now I could have done with that drill bit, that drill with the small chuck on it to drill those holes. But I gave it away, so I haven't got it. So all I've done, I played around with it and I realised that if I twisted it enough, I could get it to face down. And the springs, they still do their job. They still hold the exhaust onto the manifold. So that was perfect. I tried to butcher the spring. There was a little spring that was on here before. I can't find it now for the life of me. I was going to show you it so you knew what I was talking about. But the exhaust, to hold the exhaust on these Savages, on these ones anyway, not the 25s and 21s, but on the other ones from predecessors, the better models. They had this, and they had like a bit with a coiled up spring and a bit that come off of it, and then that went in there. That didn't obviously work. I tried to butcher it, but then I thought to myself, well, there's nothing wrong with that part. I don't like destroying parts if they're not broken, if they're perfectly good and working. So then I had a little think to myself, and I remembered someone in the comments saying about using a coat hanger. I had a look around. I didn't have any coat hangers. I only had plastic coat hangers. I didn't have any metal coat hangers. But then I had a look in the conservatory where the wife hangs a few things up when she does the washing, and I found a coat hanger. So I decapitated one of her coat hangers, took off the metal hook, and used a pair of pliers and bent it into this nice perfect shape that you can see here. The masterpiece of all things there. That is the best piece on this entire truck. Anyway, it does the job. It goes from there, it goes to there. I had to drill out the hole a bit bigger because it was too big. It wouldn't go through that hole, so I drilled the hole out a bit bigger, put it in there, done up the grump screw, same thing here, and it holds that nice and sturdy. That's not going anywhere. I need to shorten this piece of pipe. It looks a bit clumsy like that, but I'll do that later on. I've got some coloured pipe I'm going to put on there. I didn't need to put this on there really, but this heat shielding stuff, whatever it is there, it come on this. It come with the bits and bobs when I bought this Savage. So I had a look at it and I thought, oh, I quite like that purple. It goes with my purple antenna.
How do you always know?
Because I can hear you sneaking up on me.
But how? I'm as quiet as a mouse.
You're not. You're as quiet as a chicken. So I thought to myself it'll match that. So I put that on. Didn't really need to. The other Savage, some people might think that having the fuel pipe run so close to the engine block, it'll either melt the fuel pipe or it'll make the fuel get too hot. But it won't. But it looks good, so I put it on there. Other things that need to be done, not a lot. Everything is that's the air filter I'm going to run. Oh, that reminds me, the steering. So, don't know whether you're going to be able to see. Let's see if you can see. So, as far as the steering goes, I fixed the steering. So I was having issues. I wasn't having any issues as normal. I had my head set on what I wanted to do, and I was trying to make that work. And I would have made. Oh, there's the spring. That's that spring thing I was on about for the exhaust that goes on there like that. I tried to butcher it, but it didn't. I decided to keep that as a spare part just in case I want it. So I got a new servo saver, which is on there now. And I was trying to make that work with this 24 tooth servo because this servo matches the throttle servo, and they're the original servos that came with it. Where was I? I've forgotten now. The minions wanted a lollipop, so I had to go and freeze and get a lollipop out. Where was I? Oh yeah. This servo matches the throttle one, and it's the original ones that come with this truck when I bought it. So I was determined to use this servo, absolutely determined. 24 tooth and a 25 tooth servo saver. I was determined, so I jammed it on there. I had super glued it to this actually because I was going to use this one. And then one day I was just sitting there and I said to myself, you know what, stop being such a dick. Let's just change the servo for a 25 tooth servo and put that servo saver on there. Doesn't matter, it doesn't match. So I got this servo that Alistair gave me, sent me some servos. This is a 35 kilogram servo. Put that new servo saver on there that I got from Luke's RC model. So that's a brand new. Sorry, it's not. It's a used. Sorry, servo saver. That is a new one to replace the one that broke. That's on that 35 kilogram servo now, and it works perfectly well. It turns the things, and this is a good servo, so I'll just save it. I'll just remember it's a 24 tooth one. Sometimes, even if you've got something set in your head that you want to do, just have a second thought and think, do I really have to do it that way? Am I just causing myself extra problems? Can't I just do an easier way of doing it? that's what I have to do sometimes. And when I sat down one day and I had the thought come into my head, and I said, "You dickhead, just use a different servo. Stop being an idiot. Just use a different servo and get it done." So that's what I've done. So we've got steering sorted out. I'm going to leave this wire here because this goes to this switch, which goes to the brake lights. And the brake lights are not something that I would normally go out of my way to install. They're not really my kind of thing. But seeing as they're already on here, and it's all set up, the switch is in place, the lights are in place, the wiring is in place. The only thing missing is a power supply for it, a battery source, because this would be the battery source, go into that switch, the switch would regulate the on and off. So not right now, but maybe in the future I will either connect this up to the receiver in some way, or the receiver battery pack, the hump pack, or I might just stick some connectors on the end and sort of cable tie a different battery pack or something to here, an AA battery or whatever it takes, you know, to get it to work. But for now, that wire I'm going to cable tie to the side there so it can't flap around and get caught up in the old prop shaft. I'll cable tie that there before I run it properly, and that will be that. So I've got to put the little guard back on the bottom. This thing, I do like it. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to use it. So that needs to go back on like that at some point, but not yet. So there you go, you lot. That's as far as we've got so far. I said I've got a little bit further, done a few things, and that is exactly what I've done. I've been thinking about these shocks. I'm not going to buy anything yet because, as I said, I'm not going to buy any more RC stuff yet. I've got other commitments, other priorities at the moment, far more important things than any RC car to get done before I can start spending money on any RC car or any other hobby whatsoever. But I've been thinking about it, and there's a couple of different options that I could possibly do. I like having the double shocks. I like having the twin shocks. They look good. I like the way they look. I do like the single. I was fully aware of the single shocks that the newer Savages have. Some people mentioned it in the comments. Just change them to the single shocks. I was fully aware of that anyway. I thought that might be an option anyway, but I'd kind of dismissed it. I thought to myself, I don't want single shocks. I want twin shocks on every corner. I like them. But the more I've thought about it, probably wouldn't be so bad, you know. And so I've got a plan in my head. I might buy. I'm going to have to buy used. I'm not going to be able to buy brand new because they would just be extortionately expensive. I've had a look, even used shocks are bloody expensive. You're looking at 40 or 50 quid for 4 shocks. The price is out of this world. But I might buy 4 and only put 2 single ones on the back and keep the front as double twin shocks either side. Or I might change the whole lot. I haven't yet decided. You lot put in the comments what you would do or what you think I should do, but I haven't yet decided. I'll also probably, I'm not sure, I probably will have to buy new shock towers for, I'm not really sure yet. I haven't looked into it in that much detail, but I might have to get new shock towers. But what I might do is try and make them work just with the single shock tower, with the old shock towers. See if I can bolt the shocks just to that. I'll bolt them there like that. They should work. I can't see why they won't. But I have noticed that on the newer Savages where they have the single shocks, the shock towers are different, obviously because they're not supposed to accommodate 2 shocks. They're only supposed to accommodate 1, whereas these shock towers here, they're supposed to accommodate 2 shocks, 2 suspensions. But that's a detail which at the moment, in this present time, I'm not really that bothered about. I'll work that out later on when I'm ready to start spending some more dollar. But there you go, you lot. The Savage SS, whatever you want to call it, build. It's not really a rebuild yet, is it? But there you go. I put some more diff grease in the diffs, by the way, before I put it back together. Some of you might have been wondering that. It's got a new receiver in it, not a new one, but it's got one that Bo sent me, but it's got the better one with the fully intact antenna on it. haven't tested it for range yet, but it's the best one I've got, so if it doesn't work I'll be switching that for something different. But for now we're using the Fly Sky receiver, the best one I've got. Brand new battery pack, and yeah, we're ready to go. She's had 1 tank of nitro gone through her at the moment. She sounds like a beast. I know I did a small video starting it up a couple of days ago, probably a week or so ago now, and as I said, if you follow me on Instagram, there was a better video on Instagram that I done the day before yesterday, or was it yesterday? Might have been yesterday, where I started it up for a bit longer, and that's when I done the 1 tank of fuel through it. But it was getting a bit late, it was getting about 9 o'clock at night, and I didn't want to piss off the neighbours. I've got really good neighbours here. I'm really lucky that where I live, the neighbours are sound. I rarely get any complaints. The only time one neighbour complained was when I washed my car. But other than that, everything's good. So I don't want to piss the neighbours off by making noise late at night. So I only did 1 tank of fuel. I think I might do another one now actually. I put a bit in it because I was going to do... Oh no, I must have done half. So I done half a tank again. So it's had 1.5 tanks through it. And I was going to do another half. Finish off the other half, but I didn't. So I might finish off that other half, and then we'll have 2 tanks of fuel gone through it. Yeah, but shall we start her up now so you lot can hear her? Alright you lot, so this is going to be a completely cold start. It's been sitting all night and all day. And haven't heated it up. So let's see, we should run pretty well. She wants to go, she wants to go. There you go, the other tank is completely gone now. 2 tanks of fuel gone through that now. When I get a chance next, I don't know when it'll be, I can drive it with only the 1 shock there, so that'll be fine. Next time I get a chance, probably the next video you see on this will when I go and run this engine all the way in properly. I have the fan there to blow the smoke out the door. The next time we see this will probably be when I go down to a car park and I do another tank of fuel, and then I'll have a drive around for a few tanks and actually run the engine in properly. To be honest, there's loads of different methods for running in an engine. I've done several videos on running in engines, different methods. There's so many to talk about, you know. Some people richen them right up and open the throttle wide open. It won't rev up high because it's so rich, but it will rev a little bit higher than tick over, but there'll be so much fuel going through it, there'll be loads of lubrication. Some people do it that way, some people just let it sit there and tick over. There's loads of different methods you can do for running in a nitro engine. For this particular one, I've just chosen to start it up and let it run. Like I say, there's loads of different methods you can choose. I just wanted to start it up and I didn't have time to go out, so I started it up and I let it run. So now we've had 2 tanks on tick over. In fact, that's most of the time that's the method that most manufacturers recommend. Whatever LRP recommend, I don't know, I haven't read the instructions. You know what, I was on the forum, I was a bit more in focus. I was on the forum last night having a look, and there was some threads about running in engines, and some people were saying all different things. One bloke was on about, get a thermometer, you need a thermometer, you need a temperature gauge, you need this, you need that. And I'm just thinking, this poor person's just bought himself a nitro car and he's asking how to run it in the best way. The last thing he wants is to be bombarded with all this stuff that you need to be doing. You don't need to do any of that. When running in and tuning an engine, the thermometers are not a necessary thing to have whatsoever. You just need to make sure that it's not running lean. Start it up and let it run. That's all you need to do if you're a beginner. I thought to myself, that poor person's asked how to run in his car because it's his first one, and everyone's just going with all these extra bits, you know, thermometers and this, and make sure the smoke is enough and all of that kind of stuff. Start it up and let it run. Just make sure it's not revving too high. Anyway, there we go, update on the Savage SS. I'll catch you a lot later on. Thanks for watching. By the way, all of my video, well 99% of them now, will be going up for members only first, for the early access, and then after a few days or up to a week early, and then they'll be going public to the rest of you. So why not join the members? You know, if you want to help the channel out, better projects, more stuff, all that kind of stuff. If you remember, you get early access, and you also get a little badge in every comment, so everybody knows that you're a special person. Thanks for watching. Treat everybody equally, doesn't matter who they are, and I'll catch you later on.